Welcome, math enthusiasts, to an exciting journey through the Highgate 11 Plus Mathematics Paper A. Get ready to unlock the secrets of this challenging exam and dive into the fascinating world of numbers, patterns, and problem solving. Now, whether you're a student preparing for the 11 Plus exam or simply eager to explore the wonders of mathematics, this walkthrough is designed to make learning engaging and enjoyable. From tricky word problems to mind-bending calculations, we will tackle each challenging step of each question, equipping you with the skills and confidence to excel. Prepare to be captivated by interactive visuals, animated explanations, and real-life examples that bring the numbers to life. So get your pencils ready, your thinking caps on, and let's dive into the world of Highgate 11 Plus Mathematics. Wonderful. Over to question number 1. So the following questions are about a butcher's shop. So Kareem buys 7 burgers and 5 steaks, and burgers cost 61p each, and steaks cost 84p each. So how much did Kareem spend in total? Well, let's go ahead and calculate this right away. So we'll have 7 burgers multiplied by 61 plus 5 steaks multiplied by 84p each. And if we add that together, we'd get £8.47. And that's as simple as it would get. 7 times 61 pence, that's £4.27, plus 5 times 84 pence, which is £4.20, and that gives us £8.47. Over to question 2. Sausages come in packs of 8, and each pack costs £1.30. And James spends £9.10 on sausages. So how many sausages did James get? Well, the first thing we need to understand is how many packets can go into £9.10. So if we have £9.10 and we divide this by £1.30, we'll be left with 7. Taking that into consideration, we now know that there are 7 packs, but in each pack there are 8. So if we multiply this together, we get 56. Please remember to pause the video at any given time, attempt the question, and then press play when you're ready to continue. I hope that was clear. Let's now move into part C. Tyler buys 16 chicken wings and receives £14.72 change from a £20 note. So what is the price? And remember now, they're asking of a chicken wing. So it's 1. So what do you think we need to do first here? Well, we can take the £20 note and we can find the difference between that and the change. So that means we'll have 20 minus £14.72, and that would give us £5.28. So now we know 16 wings cost £5.28. But because they're asking for a chicken wing, we have to then divide this value by 16. And so by doing so, we get 33 pence. And that is the cost of 1 chicken wing. Let's go for question D. So the butcher also sells slices of turkey. And Donald buys 3/4 of the slices in the shop. Alicia bought 3 slices. So how many more slices than Alicia did Donald buy? Well, let's take a look at this. So if Donald buys 3/4 of the slices and Alicia buys 1/6 of the remaining slices, we can understand that Alicia got 3 slices. So 1/6 of something will equal 3 slices. So all we have to merely do is now multiply 6 by 3, and we know that's 18. So 1/6 of 18 is 3. So now we know that there were 18 remaining. And now let's reverse engineer this once more. Because Donald bought 3/4, we know that there's a quarter left, which means that there were 18 left. And now in order to find out how many Donald bought, we merely need to multiply this by 3 for each side. And then what do we get left with? 54. So now we know that Donald bought 54 and Alicia bought 3. So how many more slices than Alicia did Donald buy? So we need to get the difference. So we have 54 minus 3, which is 51, and that is our answer. 51 slices. So step 1, always try to highlight what areas of the question link together. From 3 slices to 1/6. Then find out the value of the total amount, which then you know is going to be seen as 1/4. And then you can allow that to work out the next step. I hope that question was clear. We're now going to move over to part E. Lamb chops are 3 times more expensive than pork chops. So again, you can have pork chops as X and lamb chops as 3X. Tina buys 2 lamb chops and 2 pork chops, and she spends £9.60 in total. So how much do lamb chops and pork chops cost? So now we know that lamb chops are 3 times more than pork chops. We will simply have 3x multiplied by 2, which is going to be your lamb chops, plus as your pork chops multiplied by 2. And that gives us £9.60. So if you put this all together, we have 6x plus 2x equals £9.60. And that gives us 8x, which is £9.60. So now we know the value of the total amount. We can just simply divide this by having £9.60 divided by 8, and that gives us £1.20. So we now know X equals £1.20, and that is the price of a pork chop. So we can write that down as £1.20. But don't forget, a lamb chop costs 3 times more. So if we have £1.20 and we times this by 3, we get £3.60, and that's the cost of our lamb chop. So what did I do here? Well, I used algebra to understand the difference between the 2 chops, where the pork chop is X and the lamb chop is 3X. I then wrote that out in an equation where I had 3X, which is the cost of the lamb chop, and I multiplied it by 2 because there's 2 lamb chops. And then the price of the pork chop, which is X, and I multiplied that by 2 as well and equaled it to £9.60. I then expanded the brackets, which means 3x times 2 is 6x, and x times 2 is 2x. And because they are like terms, I added it together to give me 8x, which equals £9.60, and I divided both sides by 8. And that gave me the value of x, which was the pork chops, as £1.20. And then I multiplied it by 3 because the lamb chops were 3 times more expensive than the pork chops. Marvelous. Okay, moving over to question 2. Okay, let's dive into question number 2. Mr. Green's garden is a mixture of lawn, patio, and flower beds. A plan of the garden is shown below, with some but not all of the measurements. What is the area covered by Mr. Green's lawn? So now, in order to calculate this question, because we're only focusing on the lawn here, that's merely this section here. And in order to do this, we're going to split this up into 2 rectangles. The first being the top half and the second being the bottom half. Now, we can understand that there's a 2 meters difference here. And from this section, that's 3 meters. So we already know now that if we take 3 and 2 away from 9, that's left with 4. So this section here will be 4 meters, whilst the top section will be 21 meters, as we will be taking away the 2 meters. So the first thing we'll do is have 21 multiplied by 4, which gives us 84 meters for this section here. So for the bottom section, we'll do the same thing. But this time, we have our length as 3 meters, but we now need to work out our width here. And if we know that this entire length is 23, we can subtract 8 and 2, so we're left with 13. So again, we'll have 13 multiplied by 3, and that is 39 meters here. If we go ahead and add that to 84, we will be left with 123, and that is our answer. So again, I've split the lawn into two, which is 2 rectangles. I've calculated the top half, which is 21 times 4, and the bottom half, which is 3 times 13, and that's 39, and then we add them together. Beautiful. Let's go for part B. Mr. Green buys 6 flower pots, and flower pots cost £4 each, and he has a voucher for 15% off. So how much does Mr. Green spend on flower pots if he uses a voucher? So we essentially need to calculate 15% off for the 6 flower pots. So the first thing we're going to do is multiply 6 by 4, which gives us £24. But then we are going to calculate 15% of £24. Now, if we have £24 and we calculate 10%, that will be £2.40. So I'm just going to label this as 100% and 10%. And all I've done is divided it by 10. I'm then going to divide it by 2 to get 5%, and that will be £1.20. And so if we add that together, that will give us 15%, and that's £3.60. So all I now need to do is take £24, subtract £3.60, and there we are. You're left with £20.40, and that is your answer. So I've calculated how much it would cost for all the 6 pots, then I've calculated 15%, and then I've subtracted 15% away, and there we are, £20.40. Don't forget to pause the video at any given time, attempt the question, and then press play to see if you got the same answer. Now remember, there is more than one method to achieve this answer, but as long as you're comfortable with that, that is absolutely fine. Okay, let's move over to part C. Mr. Green wants to lay paving stones on his patio. The stones are rectangles measuring 50 by 20. How many paving stones are needed to pave the patio? So let's scroll back up there and let's take a look at the patio. And we can see the patio is 3 by 8. So that's 24 meters squared. So I'm just going to draw the patio here, label it as 3 meters by 8 meters. So it's 24 meters squared. So now we need to see how many of these paving stones can be laid to cover the entire patio. So the first thing we need to do is get the area of one paving stone. And again, because we're working in meters, we can simply see 50 centimeters as 0.5 and 20 centimeters as 0.2. So if we go ahead and multiply 0.5 by 0.2, we'd get 0.1. So now we know that one paving stone is 0.1 meters. Remember now, we need to get to 24 meters. So what do we need to do here? Well, we need to have 24 divided by 0.1, which gives us 240. So now we know that we would need 240 paving stones to cover the entire patio. Okay, part D. The area of the flower bed is 60 meters squared. 3 sacks of fertilizer are needed for every 4 meters squared of flower beds. So remember, the ratio is 3 sacks of fertilizer to every 4 meters squared of flower bed. Sacks cost £10 each, but are on offer. Buy 4 sacks and get a 5th sack free. So you're essentially getting 5 sacks for the price of 4. So how much does it cost to fertilize the flower bed? So now we know our ratio is 3 to 4. And if we add that together, that gives us 7 as our total. So the first thing I'm going to do is divide 60 by 4. So we now know that we have 15 sacks of fertilizers that we need. I'm then going to multiply this out by 3. So now we know we need 45 sacks of fertilizer in total. And as it states, buy 4 sacks and get a 5th sack free, we now need to calculate how many 4s we need to purchase to get 45 in total. So I'm going to go with 9 here, because if we have 9 multiplied by 4, that gives us 36. But then if we add the extra sack to each one, so we'll add 9, that gives us 45 in total. So by doing this, we now know that we need 36 sacks in total. And because they are £10 each, we have 36 multiplied by 10, which gives us £360. Marvellous. Let's go for question number 3 here. Tim is going paintballing. An entry into paintballing costs £23, but then you also have to pay £6 per 100 balls that you use. And Tim spent £65 in total. So how many paintballs did he use? So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 23 from 65. And that's going to give us £42. I'm then going to divide £42 by 6, which gives us 7. So we now know that because he pays £6 per 100 balls, he's got 7 lots of these. So that means 7 times 100 is 700, and that is our answer. 700 paintballs is how much he used. Okay, part B. Janice is running a bath, and she mixes hot water with cold water to make sure the temperature is just right. She uses 5 times more hot water than cold water, so instantly we know this is a ratio. And Janice's bath holds 90 litres of water in total. So we now know 6 equals 90. But remember here, this can be seen as water. So now if we have 6 waters equal 90, we need to calculate the value of water. So we'll have 90 divided by 6, which gives us 15, which is seen as 1 ratio for water. And it's asking us how much hot water she uses. So we know it's 5 times more hot water. So all we need to merely do is have 15 multiplied by 5, which gives us 75, and that is our answer. 75 litres of hot water. So again, if you feel that you need a bit more practice with ratio, watch our ratio video. The link is on the screen now, and this will give you much more information in terms of working with ratio word problems and how to calculate them. But essentially, we always need to get the total amount of ratios and then divide it by the figure given so we can calculate one ratio. Almost similar to percentages. Okay, part C. Bob the builder is filling a hole with a mixture of gravel and sand. 234 kg of sand are needed to make 400 kg of the mixture. And Bob makes 1,000 kg of the mixture. So how much gravel does Bob need? Well, once again, the first thing we're going to do is subtract 234 from 400. So now we know 166 kg is gravel because 234 is sand. So now we need to see how do we get from 400 to 1,000? Well, we know that we need to multiply this by 2.5. So likewise, for the gravel, we'll multiply this by 2.5. So if we take 166 times 2.5, that gives us 415 kg, and that is our answer. Beautiful work. Let's go for part D. In the picture below, rectangle A has an area of 70 centimeters squared, and rectangle B has an area of 63 centimeters squared. Now, the side lengths of the rectangles are whole numbers, and the sides labelled X and Y are both longer than 1 centimeters. Find the lengths of the sides labelled X and Y. So in order to answer this question, we need to look for some similarities. What 2 sets of numbers can we use to multiply with each other that can get us to 70 and 63? So if you take a look at 2 factors from 70 that have a common number in there, it would be 7 and 10. And likewise for 63, 7 and 9. So we now know 7 is common. So we will allocate X as 7. So this is just to use the similarities as an advantage to get our answer. So now we have that, we can simply say that 7 times 9 is 63, which is great, and 7 times 10 is 70. And again, this can be proved as this line is longer than the rectangle B. So for that side, we know x is 7 and y is 9. Marvelous work. Okay, question E. Victoria the vet is weighing her pets. And the question is asking us how much do all 3 of her pets weigh when weighed together. So all we're going to do is use algebra here. So by manipulating the equations, we are going to isolate the values of R, C, and D. So from the first equation, we understand we have the rabbit plus the cat equals 10. But we're going to rewrite it as making 10 the subject. So then we'll go ahead and take the plus C over, and that becomes the minus C. So now we know that R will equal 10 minus C. And then we're going to substitute this value of R into the third equation. Remember now, the third equation was dog plus rabbit equals 20 kg. But now we are going to write it as D plus 10 minus C will equal 20. And simplifying that further, and if we take this over, we will then know that D equals 10 plus C. And that is because we've done 20, take away the 10, so we're left with 10 plus C. So now we've got the value of D and the value of R. We can then substitute the value of D into the second equation. So if we take a look at the second equation here, that was cat plus dog equals 24. So what do we know there? That we're going to have C plus 10 plus C equals 24. So if I put that together, we'd have 2C plus 10 equals 24. Take away the 10 over, and that's 2C equals 14, so C equals 7. So now we know that the cat is 7. And now with the value of C, we can substitute it back into the first equation. So now we know that the rabbit will be 10 minus 7, so the rabbit is 3. And then finally, we can substitute the values of R and C into the equation where we have D equals 10 plus 7, so D equals 17. So altogether, the 3 pets will weigh 17 plus 3, which is a rabbit weight, plus 7, which is a cat weight, and that is 27 kg. And there we are. So I hope this question has been useful in terms of using algebra to calculate our answer. Once again, if this question was slightly challenging, that is absolutely fine. Practice makes perfect. Okay, let's go for question 4 now. 4A. In the town of Mathsville, there are 360 residents. 45% of the residents are children and the rest are adults. So again, we know we need to work out 45% of 360. So again, we have 100% minus 45 and we're left with 55%, which we now know are the adults. So all we need to do is have 55% of 360 and that would give us our answer. So again, there's a 2-step method. You can either multiply both of the numbers and then divide it by 100, or you could simply divide it by 100 first and then times it by 55, because dividing by 100 would give us 1%, and then we can multiply it out by 55. So what I'm going to do is simply multiply these together. So we now have to do 55 times by 360, which is 19,800, and then divide this by 100, and then we have our answer of 198. So again, we can cancel the 2 zeros, and 198 is your answer. Marvelous. Okay, part B. Numbertown Primary School has 280 pupils, and 56 of these pupils are girls. So instantly, 280 take away 56 gives us 224. So now we need a percentage of the pupils that are boys. So how are we going to do that? Well, the first thing we're going to do is write 224 divided by 280, which gives us 0.8. We will then times this by 100, and that gives us 80%, and that is our answer. So again, that's your two-step method in the bag. Okay, part C. The price of a bus ticket from Mattsville to Numbertown has increased by 50% in the past year. So the bus ticket now costs £1.80. What did it cost a year ago? So for those who think, oh, we can just half this to get 90 pence because it's 50%, that is not what the question's asking. Taking a value of, let's say, £1, and then that increasing by 50% means 50% of £1 is 50 pence. So that now becomes £1.50. So I hope you understand what I mean by that. Okay, so what do we do to get our answer? Well, the first thing to understand is that this was always 100%, but it went up by 50%. So now you know it is 150%. So what we're going to do here is simply calculate the value of it a year ago, which was 100%. So if £1.80 equals 150%, we're going to do a two-step method where we have 150 divided by 3, which gives us 50%, times it by 2, which gives us 100%. So we now know it's divided by 3 and times 2. So we take £1.80, we divide that by 3, which is 60 pence, times that by 2, which is £1.20. So now we know a year ago, the bus ticket cost £1.20. And there we are. Okay, let's go to part D. Mattsville Maths Supplies is a shop selling maths equipment. Tina bought 4 calculators and 3 protractors for £16.10. Ahmed then bought 2 calculators and 1 protractor for £7.50. So again, we need to calculate the cost of a calculator and a protractor. So this is called simultaneous equations. And this is where you have to solve 2 equations at the same time. Now, we've also got a set of videos based on simultaneous equations, so feel free to take a look at our channel and you can see exactly how to answer those questions. But for now, let's go ahead and dive into this. So the first thing you need to do is take equation 1 and equation 2, and you have to almost eliminate either the calculators or the protractors. We're going to go ahead and choose to eliminate the calculators. So firstly, we're going to multiply equation 2 by 2, and we're left with 4c plus 2p equals £15. We're then going to subtract this from equation 1. So we know 4c take away 4c is now gone. But 3p take away 2p is 1p. So I hope you can see we're now being able to calculate the value of one protractor. And then £16.10 take away £15 gives us £1.10. So instantly we know the value of a protractor is £1.10. And so now we can go ahead and substitute this into our second equation, which was 2c plus 1p is £7.50. So I'll take £7.50, I'll subtract £1.10, I'll now have £6.40. But remember, that £6.40 is the value of 2 calculators. But we need the value of 1 calculator. So we divide that by 2 and we have £3.20, and that is your answer to the price of 1 calculator. Beautiful. And now we approach our final question. I hope this paper has been useful. Please remember, break down these questions into smaller, more manageable steps. And do revisit the questions and the topics in the YouTube channel, as they will definitely help. Okay, so football is very popular in Numbertown, and 2/5 of the population support London Mathletic. Now you see, as I'm reading, I'm also writing this out as well. The rest support either Mattsville or the Counting Crows. So that could be your 3/5. Now, twice as many people support Mattsville United than support the Counting Crows. So we know that's 2-1. And 500 people support the Counting Crows. So if that's the case, we now know from the ratio 1 is 500. So that means 2 must be 1,000. And now what is the total population of Number Town. So the first thing we know is if it's 3/5, which could either be Mathsville or the Counting Crows, we're going to go ahead and add this together. So we now know that 3/5 would equal 1,500. And that means 1/5 would equal 500. So the total population would only be 500 times by 5, which is 2,500 people. And that there is the total population of Number Town. And that brings us to the end of our thrilling journey through the Highgate 11+ Mathematics Paper A. I hope this walkthrough has provided you with valuable insights, strategies, and a deeper understanding of the mathematical concepts covered in the exam. If you found this walkthrough helpful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more exciting math content. Stay tuned for future walkthroughs, exam tips, and math adventures. Until next time, happy math solving, team!